Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Thursday. I double-checked. It is a Thursday on the program. We're with you for the next 3 hours and change on the sports voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. However, whenever, wherever you're catching the program today, thanks so much for making it a part of your media diet. Thanks for hanging out with us here on 580 Sports Talk. I am Dan Lucero. Brendan Dworzinski is off today. Spencer Dupuis will be along in a bit. I say 3 hours and change. We'll have a little overtime for you today, but our 3 regulation hours from 3 to 6 on 580 Sports Talk are crammed to the brim with some great stuff to talk about, 2 outstanding guests, and a final monthly championship bout for the year 2025 on What Is Wrong With You. So we got a great show for you today, and we're really glad that you are here for it. We're going to talk some Chiefs. These last 3 games don't mean anything in the standings. We know that. Chiefs have been eliminated. Even if they had not been eliminated, Patrick Mahomes is hurt. So these games would not have meant anything even if they did mean something. The inevitable outcome is and would have been that these are the last 3 games of the season and the Chiefs are done. But that doesn't mean they aren't important to certain individuals. Who's got the most to gain for the Chiefs here in these final 3 regular season contests? And for whoever those people might be, it's a real chance to show out because the Chiefs are going to play 2 of the 3 worst teams in the NFL. Like, there's a real opportunity for some Chiefs players to put some really good stuff on tape against teams that stink. You know, it would be more impressive if some guys put good tape together against the Broncos on Christmas, but you go out there and you torch the Titans or rack up some stats against the Raiders, you should have the opportunity to do that if you're one of these Chiefs players that we're discussing, because there's a lot of different ways in which these games can be important. For some guys, it might be an increase in snaps, an increase in opportunity. For some, it might just be trying to prove that they are worth a long-term investment by the Chiefs. So plenty to play for. And it's why, you know, we've talked about it. We've thrown it around all week, this idea of, well, the Chiefs ought to tank. And you just don't see it in the NFL, typically, in a real obvious way, because it's 22 guys on the field, and they've all got their own motivations. You know, you don't see NFL teams mail games in the way you would see like a tanking NBA team, just like, yeah, Cancun on 3. We're going to pretend to play defense, give up 140 points to the Bucks or whoever. Or when Major League Baseball teams are like, hey, we're going to throw our 30th ranked prospect. He's going to make 5 starts on the mound for us in the month of September and just get shelled. Football, it's a little different. Everybody out there is playing for something. And everybody's motivation, you might have some guys with some lowered motivation, but sometimes that cancels out with the guys who are fired up to be out there and play and prove that maybe their career ought to continue beyond 2025. Maybe their tenure with the Chiefs ought to continue beyond 2025. Maybe they got to be a much bigger part of the Chiefs' plans for 2026. That's the thing that prevents tanking. So if the Chiefs were to lose out, which if you're rooting for the Chiefs to tank, that's what you want to see, right? Worst record possible, highest draft pick possible. Okay. For them to go 6-11, it would not be because they tanked. It would be because they're bad enough with Gardner Minshew at quarterback to lose to 2 of the 3 worst teams in the NFL. I say 2 of the 3. That actually might be right. Yeah, I kind of threw that out. That might be right. That might be correct. I don't know. The Giants are really bad. Washington without Jaden Daniels is a bummer. The Jets. Oh, the Jets stink. But yeah, I'm comfortable with that. Kind of off the cuff, but I'm comfortable with that take. 2 of the 3 worst teams in the NFL on the schedule for the Chiefs the rest of the way. They lose those games because they're bad enough to lose them. It won't be because they're not going to try. But we'll talk about which players in particular have a little bit of added motivation for the Chiefs moving forward. And if you were looking for the coaching staff to be part of a tanking effort. Don't think you're going to see that, at least not according to what we heard from Steve Spagnuolo earlier today. We're going to hold the coordinator audio for overtime. So if you want to hear Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, and Dave Tobe, hang out with us. We'll play that as our overtime conversation of the day between 6 and 6:30 before Thursday Night Football tonight. But I do want to talk about a couple of things, a couple of players that Spags particularly talked about. Because on offense, other than Brashard Smith, they pretty much guarantee everybody you would want to see, you're going to see. Just because who else is there? But defense, it's a bit of a different story. And so we'll talk about some of what Spags had to say there. And then I think a really interesting question for the long term. Maybe not even the long term, short term as well as the long term. But going into next year, who are the elite players on the Kansas City Chiefs? Who are the guys who are among the best in their fields, pun not really intended, on the Chiefs roster? Because that's how you build a dynasty. You have top-tier talent all over the field. And the Chiefs built a dynasty because they had the best interior pass rusher in the league and the best tight end in the league and the best quarterback in the league. And above all else, the best quarterback in the league. That's where that starts. And that can overcome a lot of deficiencies. We saw it overcome a lot of deficiencies over the last couple of years until it could no longer sustain this season. But as the Chiefs phase into the next portion of Patrick Mahomes' career, who are the elite talents? Because even if Travis Kelce returns for next season, he is not that version of Travis Kelce any longer. Chris Jones is probably going to be back next year. I'd be stunned if he wasn't. He means too much to the team and the defense. He is not, clearly, what he was at his absolute best. Who are the other guys? Who are the game changers? Who are the dudes on this Chiefs roster? It's not a long list, is it? Which, kind of part of the problem. But we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. So lots of football to talk about today. We're going to talk some baseball, too. I'm going to put on my general manager hat, which I love to do. It's not a literal hat for those of you watching on the video stream. I'm not going to change hats. I'm wearing my Seahawks hat today for what should be pretty obvious reasons. But I'm not going to literally change hats. But I'm going to assume J.J. Piccolo's job in the 4 o'clock hour. And I'm going to give you 2 moves that I think the Royals can afford to make. I'm not going to sit here and say, all right, I got everything figured out. Royals should sign Kyle Tucker and all those good Japanese players. Championship. This GM thing is easy. No, the Royals are not going to go and do that. They could probably do one of those things if they really, really want to feel froggy and get in on the bidding for like a Cody Bellinger or one of those Japanese stars. They could do it. They have the money for it. But trying my best to operate within the financial constraints it appears the Royals have placed upon themselves. 2 moves I think would make them the AL Central. Well, I don't want to oversell one of the moves, but 2 moves I think are necessary to fill out their roster. 2 moves I think they need to make to address a couple of deficiencies that still exist on their projected 26-man roster. So we'll get to some baseball on the show today as well. I mentioned 2 great guests joining us at the bottom of this hour. Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight. We're going to talk about the number 1 team in America, the Washburn-Ichabod men's basketball team. We'll also get into some high school sports as well. Final competition week this week for high school sports in 2025 before the holiday hiatus. Rick Peterson joining us for the local sports spotlight at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour. And at 5:25, our weekly visit with the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, a courtesy of our friends at Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. Mitch likes to refer to his visits with us and explain his visits with us, his weekly visits throughout the year, as almost like a diary of the season. At the end of the day, you tell the story that's in front of you. You look ahead to the next game as the next story, and then you continue on throughout the year. This will be a very different interview with Mitch than we've ever done before in my time on 580 Sports Talk. I've never done an interview with Mitch Holthus before a Chiefs game in which they were eliminated from the playoffs. Never done it. So It'll be unique, but we'll get through it, and certainly Mitch will have some great insight as to the Chiefs, who will be taking the field to take on the Titans on Sunday. Plus, your interaction with the show today is, as always, invited and encouraged. Want to hear from you on the text line, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also interact in the live chat on our YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk. If you're watching the YouTube stream live every day between 3 and whenever we sign off. Today it'll be 6. Usually it's 6. But if you're watching the program live, there is a live chat if you were signed into YouTube, and you can interact in the chat, say hello to your fellow listeners, grow that 580 Sports Talk community, and interact with your host as well. That's 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, and if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, no day like today to get us a step closer to our stretch goal of 900 subscribers. We are 21 away. When we get to 900 subscribers, we're going to do some fun stuff for you in the form of a singing competition between myself and Brendan and Spencer on the program. That's coming up. But you got to get us there first. So go subscribe to the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. All right. Yeah, these next 3 Chiefs games don't matter in the standings. Like I said yesterday, not here to tell you how to be a fan. If you'd just as soon skip them and hang out outside on what's supposed to be kind of a pleasant weekend, or it's going to be in the 60s on Christmas Day is what I'm seeing, which I wish I could tell you that was new to me, but I grew up in Colorado. Like, you know, every now and again you get a yellow Christmas for the sun and not a white Christmas with the snow. But if you want to spend that time away from your television and not really dialed into these final 3 Chiefs games, I totally understand. But I suspect a lot more of you that listen to this show than not are the kind of fan who's going to be there through the final whistle on week 18, game 17. And so if you are that kind of a fan, if you are that kind of observer of the Chiefs, you're going to see over the course of the next 3 games some guys who are playing for jobs, some guys who are playing for contracts, some guys who might be playing for future opportunities. Of that group, the most interesting guys to me, start with the rookies, because that's obvious, right? Like your first-year guys are playing for their place on next year's team. Josh Simmons isn't out there, but his place is assured. He's starting left tackle for as long as the Chiefs desire to keep him around. Ashton Gelati has really come on the last couple of weeks. He had the interception and shared a big tackle for a loss. Might have even been a sack. Be frank, a lot of the game against the Chargers is kind of fuzzy, kind of blurry in the rearview mirror, understandably. But Gelati has played well. The last 2 games in particular, he's really flashed against the Texans and the Chargers. And that might just be those teams have stinky offensive lines and particularly bad tackle play, and that's an environment for any edge rusher to thrive. But it should be noted that we've noticed Gelati a lot more often in those games than we've noticed guys like Mike Dana. Chiefs probably going to move on from him and maybe from Charles Omenihu this offseason and reshape that edge rusher group. So there's a big opportunity for Gelati these last couple of games to prove he should be in the mix for a starter, that he can be trusted to be the guy opposite George Karlaftis coming off the edge for the Chiefs next season. I think that would be a reasonable outcome for a guy drafted as high as he was. My concern is that he and Karlaftis in the end are maybe too similar a player. Players who've got high motors, but maybe aren't straight ahead power rushers that can immediately cave in a pocket. It's a broader problem with the Chiefs roster, to be honest with you, that they don't have enough variety at different positions. They've got a bunch of guys who are all basically the same. It's a huge problem at wide receiver. And I think it's been a little bit of a problem with the edge rusher group. Steve Spagnuolo loves himself a big defensive end with a high motor. Loves those guys. Frank Clark, perfect example of a Spags defensive end. And Karlaftis fits that mold. And Gelati fits that mold. The one time the Chiefs acquired, in recent memory, a speed rusher off the edge, Josh Uche couldn't get off the field. Couldn't get on the field. Couldn't get off the bench. So Spags has a type, and I think that's a concern that the Chiefs maybe need to address in the offseason. But Gelati's got a clear path to a lot more playing time next season, and I'm curious to see how he takes advantage of that. Similarly, on the defensive side, Noel Williams. He's sort of the inverse of Gelati, where he started really fast. Like, Gelati didn't do a whole lot, didn't get out on the field much early in the season, and neither did Noel Williams until all of a sudden he did when there was a need, and he played really well. He put up some good numbers. He looked good on tape. Down the stretch, it's changed a little bit. He's been a little bit more penalty prone. He reminds me a lot of, again, Chiefs have a type, the sort of physical outside corners that Kansas City has always preferred, particularly with Steve Spagnuolo as the defensive coordinator. I remember L'Jarius Sneed being pretty penalty prone early on in his career, and he reined that problem in, and by the time he did, he was elite for that brief moment in time before he went to the Titans. So Noel Williams has to prove, hey, can he be trusted as a starter on the outside? Because remember, all that Trent McDuffie trade talk picking up steam, and that's not coming from nowhere. McDuffie might be the guy that is the balance between a good enough player to trade to get some draft capital in a draft where we're going to need it, and just dispensable enough. Not quite indispensable to the future of the Chiefs defense. Again, it's a wild conversation to be putting him in, but I think if you've watched enough of McDuffie this year, has he felt indispensable to you? Has it felt like the Chiefs secondary is much weaker when he's off the field? Or could the Chiefs maybe pay Jalen Watson approximately $100 million less total than they were going to give Trent McDuffie and go with Noel Williams on the other side and find a slot corner? I think that's maybe a little bit more likely. So, big sequence of games for Noel Williams. On offense, why not give Brashard Smith 15 to 20 touches a game if he's a developmental prospect, which basically everybody you take in the 7th round is. But if he's particularly a developmental prospect because his background was as a wide receiver and he didn't play a lot of running back until his final year in college, why not get him some real live running back reps against live fire these final 3 games? And if he doesn't do well, fine. Then he's not a future feature back, which is generally the outcome you get when you take a running back in the 7th round. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's see what it looks like. Instead of having him be the obvious gadget back. Oh, Brashard Smith is in the game, and he's lined up to the same side of the field as Noah Gray and Juju Smith-Schuster. I wonder if this is going to be a screen, guys. And it always was a screen. But no, line him up in the backfield. Let Gardner Minshew put the ball in his gut 15 times. Let's see how that looks. Isaiah Pacheco's not playing for the Chiefs again after this season. Brashard Smith might. Let's give the carries to somebody who might. The other guy I'm fascinated by on offense is Esapole, because we've now seen 2 NFL games for Pole, and one of them, he was decisively better in the matchup with Danielle Hunter, who's been a standout pass rusher throughout the entirety of his career. And last week didn't go quite as well for him, even though he really only had to handle his matchup on the outside because the Chargers didn't blitz. I don't mean like, they preferred not to. I mean, they literally did not blitz Patrick Mahomes last week, or Gardner Minshew, I guess. No blitzes. But the Chargers still lived in the offensive backfield, and that's a problem, and that's something everybody on the offensive line shares. So, again, Pole is an undrafted free agent. Chiefs never wanted to lose him, but had to expose him to waivers. He got picked up. Now he's back in Kansas City. Is he an edge of the roster swing tackle, or is he your 3rd offensive tackle next year? That would be found money. If an undrafted free agent is a top backup for your team, that's found money. That's money you can save. Look how much the Chiefs are paying offensive tackle 3 this year. What if they were paying him approximately $14 million less next season? Esapole gets to show one way or another in these last 3 games. And then you have the class of guys from the draft class of 2022 who are going to be free agents after this season. Or after this season. So, class of 21. No, 22 is correct. 22, 23, 24, 25 is year 4 for those guys. The class of 22 guys. Obviously, McDuffie's not on this list because he had his option picked up, and Karlaftis isn't on this list because he signed a 4-year extension. Leo Chanel got a little emo with it on Instagram, which caused some alarm from his ample fan club. And he hasn't been practicing, so there's no telling if Chanel's really going to play or not. But I am curious if he's out there. What roles do we see him in? Is he in the long-term plans for the Chiefs? I would like to see the Chiefs bring him back. It felt earlier this season like he was primed for a big season. A lot of people who observed the Chiefs from up close said, look out for Leo Chanel this year. He's playing faster. The Chiefs really have a lot of plans for him. And the Chiefs play a ton of base defense, too. So even though Chanel's linebacker 3, he played a bunch. Did it feel like he had a big impact or a breakthrough season this year? I've hardly noticed him, we're being honest. So is he in the plans? Is he a guy that maybe they decide, okay, we're going to give you the money we were giving Drew Tranquill, and you're going to play in that role, and we'll work on your coverage, and we'll get a little bit more from you next to Nick Bolton and some of our nickel and other packages, pass-heavy packages? Be interested to see where he falls. And again, we might even see him on the field. Jalen Watson, he's another guy who's going to be a free agent. Can he be cornerback number 1? You know, we heard about Watson asking to travel with San Diego, Los Angeles' best wide receivers and wanting to travel against Houston when McDuffie went down, wanted to shadow Nico Collins. So he's got the mindset for it. And Watson's best has been really good. And unlike Trent McDuffie, he's not going to want Sauce Gardner money. I think if McDuffie gets an extension, Watson doesn't come back. And if McDuffie gets traded, Watson is cornerback 1 next year regardless. I think that decision's already been kind of made in that way. But you want to see him show up well in these final 3 games. And then Brian Cook, who's another player I kind of think the Chiefs have their mind made up on. He's been solid this year, even if not a noticeable solid, like more a steady presence than an impact presence this season. I think the Chiefs could do a lot worse at that main safety spot than Brian Cook, and I don't think they want to find out how much worse they could do. I suspect Cook is coming back next year, but he's another guy to watch, is somebody who continues to learn the mental aspects of being that secondary leader, something that the Chiefs haven't gotten really this year from an experienced player like they did in the previous seasons with Justin Reed and before that with Tyrann Mathieu. But those are the guys. I can guarantee every name I just went through, those guys will be playing hard as hell. They're not interested in a tank. They're going to be playing hard. They'll be playing for a contract. They'll be playing for a place at the table. They'll be playing for their futures. And this is the NFL where nobody's future is guaranteed for very long. That's plenty motivation for the guys on this roster. We'll take our first time out here at 580 Sports Talk. Some reaction from the YouTube chat. And from the text line, 785-272-9429. We got Rick Peterson, TopSports.news, coming up in just a bit as well. Mitch Holthus joins us at 5:25. We got some more Chiefs and Royals to get to on the show today. We're just getting started on this Thursday. I got it right again on 580 Sports Talk. 334 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero hanging out with you on this Thursday. Mitch Holthus at 525 today. We'll get his thoughts on the state of the Chiefs. In overtime today, we've got some overtime between 6 and 6:30 before Westwood One's coverage of Thursday Night Football here on 580 WIBW. You'll hear from the coordinators, Matt Nagy, Steve Spagnuolo, and Dave Tobe. Spags was asked today about some of the young players that the Chiefs have drafted and might be trying to work in a little bit more as the season concludes. He was asked about Jeffrey Bossa in particular at linebacker, who we really haven't seen hardly at all at linebacker since the preseason. But Spags said directly, and I'm quoting here, we haven't seen any reason to pull the other guys out in relation to the linebacking group. Which, like, what about so you can develop Jeffrey Bossa? What about that? Spags did go on to say he has confidence in Jeff. He says he's seen a lot of growth from him as a weak side linebacker, which maybe that makes him a guy who gets a more serious look next year if Leo Chanel's not on the squad. But a little bit of optimism there, but it doesn't look likely we're going to see a lot of him on Sunday. Ashton Gelati is different. Spags saying, quote, I think he's on a great trajectory as far as what you want to get out of a rookie. Right now, he's getting as many reps as we can get him. I'd like to get him more in these next 3 games. I would like to see all Gelati. I know that's not realistic, but I'd like to see him in a role where he plays a lot more than Mike Dana or Charles Omenihu, because those guys aren't going to be a part of the next winning Chiefs team, and Ashton Gelati might. We'll take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. We'll come back with Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the final local sports spotlight of 2025. That's next here on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline by the great Rick Peterson of TopSports.news, who joins us every Thursday at this time for the local sports spotlight. Pistols coverage of the Washburn Ichabods and local high school sports appears at TopSports.news. He and the staff have it all covered, and we are grateful once again to welcome in Pistol for this local sports spotlight. We got to start, Pistol, with the number one team in America, the Washburn Ichabod men, who go down to San Antonio and on consecutive days beat the number 4 team in the country and the new number 4 team in the country and hardly broke a sweat in their Wednesday win over West Texas A&M. It's early. There's a lot of season left, but this team's starting to look like they can do something very similar to what they did last year and maybe even beyond with their performances against elite competition early in this season.
Yeah, they're playing very, very well, and like you said, haven't even missed a beat from after graduating some great players last year and losing some great players. So they're rolling, and I thought they'd have a tough time in San Antonio just because they were playing such high quality teams, and like you said, barely broke a sweat. So that's great. Now they get a little bit of a break and go back to conference play on January 3rd.
The fact that they were already into conference play and had some hard-fought games to open conference play, they had come back from a halftime deficit against both Kearney and Hayes, went to double overtime against UCM the Saturday previous. I kind of thought in the back of my mind, they might go down to San Antonio. They might get caught slipping. These are not conference games. Maybe, a human nature element comes in. You throttle back just a little bit. What does it say about the mentality of this team and how Brett Ballard has these guys focused that they were able to not slip, not skip one beat in those non-conference games and not just measure themselves against some of the other great teams in the country, but beat them fairly resoundingly?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pride in that program right now, a lot of pride in that team. And I really think it starts on the defensive end. I mean, they're just, I noticed the team they beat yesterday was averaging like 92 or something and scored a 48. I mean, they really, and that kind of starts with Jeremiah Jones, but they just, they're really good defensively, and they're really, I like their depth. I like, you're bringing guys like Sam Ungachek off the bench, who was an all-conference type player. Tyson Rude's very, very good off the bench. They just got the total package right now.
The Washburn women winning their final pre-holiday game, they beat, or before they go to Oklahoma this weekend at home, they beat Truman State on Tuesday night. And it didn't sound like Laura Wessling was all the way thrilled with the way her girls played in that game, but they continue to pick up wins and keep things moving forward. And they should be able to pick up a couple of others in Oklahoma this weekend.
All the way thrilled. That's very nice, Dan. She wasn't the least bit thrilled, particularly in the first half. But I just posted a story a little bit ago, and I'll get it out on social media here soon. But she also noted, and she noted that there was a time in this program in her first 3 years that they would have lost a game like that. They're not playing well. They lose a game like that. They win this one by 16. So I think she acknowledged that that's a sign of good things to come when they can not play well and still win by 16. But I think they'll go down to Oklahoma. I think we got it back, which is obviously huge. And but they're a good team, and like I said, they didn't play well Tuesday and still win by 16. You got to take that with a grain of salt.
Rick Peterson is our guest from TopSports.news. This is a local sports spotlight. We do it every Thursday at this time here on 580 Sports Talk. Pivoting to the high school hardwood, nobody is off to a more impressive start locally, I think, than the Topeka West Charger boys. They picked off Piper on Tuesday night. That's a pair of top 10 league wins they already have, combined with their Friday night win over Seaman last Friday. They are 4-0. They are the new number 2 ranked team in the KBCA Class 5A top 10 poll. And Christian Olsaker's team appears to have all the pieces, Pistol.
They're really playing well. I mean, I thought that they'd have a tough time with both Seaman and Piper. Blew out Seaman over the first three quarters, and then played very well to take a win over a Piper team that's been second in the state 2 years ago and third last year. So Coach Olsaker's really got them playing well. They're really balanced. I think they're going to have, Locke Duncan's playing really well, but there'll be nights where he isn't the leader and other guys are picking up the staff, like Kamani Paul, Prince Lassiter, Gad Mandunga. They got it. I mean, I think right now you have to think of them as a possible contender for a 5A title.
Also off to an impressive start, the Hayden girls. They have participated in a couple of tournaments. They've won both of those tournaments. They won the Hoops and Halos down in Pittsburgh. They went 3-0 at the Paul Terry Classic. They're playing in another tournament, kind of in a weird fashion. They're not playing the opening round of the tournament. I think they call it the Fracas on Flush out there in Rock Creek. But they've got 2 games they're going to play in that tournament against some high-end competition. They're testing themselves at a high level, and they are winning at a high level so far this year. What has impressed you about Carvel Reynolds' squad?
Well, they're playing better than I thought they would early, just because of the people they lost off that team, Millie Ramsey and Briley Meyer, and those. They've come out of the gate tough. And I think the fact that they are testing themselves early is good. It's a weird schedule. I mean, you play 3 tournaments basically to start the season. That's a weird schedule, but it's worked for them. And I don't quite understand the format of this tournament this week, but it will be another good test for them. And if they can continue to win, they go into Centennial League play just as the defending champions, playing very, very well.
So the way it works is that Silver Lake is going to play, I believe it's Manhattan Chief. And if they win, they play Hayes. If they lose, they play Hayden. And those Hayes and Hayden get placed in arbitrarily, I guess, in the winners and losers side of the bracket, because Manhattan Chiefs only playing that first game. It's on both the boys and girls sides, as I understand it, too. I don't know what to make of it, but I do know that girls tournament is loaded. Hayes, Hayden, Silver Lake, Rock Creek is very good. Goodland has been very good. Eudora's had some quality teams. That is a monster tournament out there at Rock Creek coming up this weekend. And Silver Lake, unbeaten, playing in that. They picked off Rossville on Tuesday night, game we had right here on 580 WIBW. Kyle Porter, and I don't want to sell the talent level short at Silver Lake, because they've had phenomenal talent level. They've had multiple Division II players, including Kaylin Haney, who's committed to Fort Hays State right now on the roster. But Kyle Porter is as good a coach as I think you will find in any corner of the state of Kansas. And I don't know that it matters who they lose, who they've got. That team just seems to know how to play. And Rossville took a big swing at them and cut a 26-point deficit down to 10 in the fourth quarter. But Silver Lake's game control is just so impressive.
Yes, and it's a program, and that's what you talk about with Coach Porter and some of the other coaches like that. They talk about program. You know, we've had some kids that have waited their turn, and now it's time their time to step up. And I think that's exactly what's happened right now. And of course, when you got a girl like Haney to kind of lead the way and be the floor general, it makes it easier too, because she's the most experienced player in the program and she's going to have the ball the most. But that was a big win for him the other night. And I think again, Coach Porter's teams challenged themselves by playing in this Rock Creek event, and they want to challenge themselves.
A couple more questions for Rick Peterson at TopSports.news. This is the local sports spotlight on 580 Sports Talk. We do it every Thursday at this time. Let's look ahead to our 580 Preps Game of the Week doubleheader coming up tomorrow night here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Shawnee Heights and Topeka West. We'll have the girls' game at approximately 5:45 with the boys' game to follow. Start with the girls' game. Topeka West out to a rough start with a very difficult schedule, basically playing the entire top half of the UKC before Christmas. Shawnee Heights has come out some uneven results early on. They're 3-2, trying to integrate some outstanding transfers into that roster, like Permella Carter, former Highland Park Scott, and the former Topeka West Charger herself, Amani McGlory. Do you feel like that's just what's happened with the T-Birds this year, is that they're still very much in experimental mode almost? They're trying to figure out how to fit all of these talented pieces together, and that there's a much higher level they can hit when it all comes together?
Yeah, I think Coach Wells and I talked the other day. I was out and watched them on Monday, and that was a game they could have, should have won. They had a really good chance to beat a really good Manhattan program. But I think the break is going to be good for them. They're going to get a couple of weeks to work together and get more accustomed to each other. But I think they're going to be fine. They're going to, and they've played some good teams. I mean, they've so it's not it's not when they got off to a 1-3 start. I think it was it's not that they were playing easy teams. So I think they're going to be fine, and I think they'll be a contender for a 5A state tournament berth.
In the boys' game, we already talked about Topeka West, the outstanding start that they're off to. Shawnee Heights lost a lot from last year's roster and trying to integrate some new pieces into their team as well. And what we know is Ken Darding's last season on that Shawnee Heights bench. What do you see as the ceiling for that Shawnee Heights group as they move forward? Again, almost all of their guys back are in the backcourt. They don't have or didn't return that kind of post presence that they usually like to have. Maybe not as much offensive punch. They're going to have to work hard on defense, but that's how Ken Darding likes it, right?
Well, he's always going to be defense first guy. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they're offensively, they're going to have a ton of balance. Quincy Dixon, a freshman in the lineup, is as good as anybody offensively for them right now, and they're going to have to rely on the defense, maybe create some opportunities with their defense. But they came out with a bunch of close games early, and again, kind of like the girls the other night. They probably should have won that Manhattan game, and it got away from them late. But again, I think it was kind of like the girls. It'll take them a little while to come together, but I think the break will be good for them and just get accustomed to playing with each other.
Last question for you, Pistol, since this is the final Thursday show of 2025 and the last time we'll get to talk to you this calendar year, and I apologize, this puts you on the spot a little bit, but when you think about 2025 in our realm of these local sports teams, this local sports scene of ours, what is the story or what is the memory you think you'll take away from 2025? The first one that comes to mind when you think about this year that's about to wrap up.
I got to go with Washburn Rural Soccer to win back-to-back 6A state titles, both in penalty kicks. That just doesn't happen much. And for that very, very good girls program, it was the very first time they had won a title. So as we know, with a great teams. So that immediately comes to mind because that just doesn't happen much. And other than that, there were some great performances, but not a ton of titles. So for them to win back-to-back titles in the spring with the girls, and then in this fall with the boys, I think it probably top of my list. I probably will. I was thinking about that earlier. I'll probably put together a list here over the holiday break, and we'll see how all that shakes out. We'll
look forward to reading it. Rick Peterson at TopSports.news joins us every Thursday here for the local sports spotlight on 580 Sports Talk. We'll see you, I'm sure, coming up on Friday night out there at Shawnee Heights. Yep. But for the sake of the program, we'll talk to you in 2026 for our next local sports spotlight. And we appreciate you, Pistol, so much.
Thank you very much. Look forward to it.
That is Rick Peterson. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk after this. We got a short final segment here before we wrap up this 3 o'clock hour. So 2 warm and fuzzies to share. Number one, if you were with me on yesterday's show when I kept misspeaking and misidentifying the date, if I sound like I got more energy, if I feel a little more chipper today, kiddo slept through the night. He did it. He really did it. So that was good news. That's good news. Also, I would like to bury the hatchet with the texter from the 816 who gave me a little grief for misidentifying which side of David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium was now being demolished to be renovated. Sent a very nice message in response to my reply to him yesterday. And since we can't text back yet, we're looking to restore that functionality. I want to officially bury the hatchet on air with Mike from the 816. Appreciate you for listening. We got more 580 Sports Talk. We're going to talk Chiefs and Royals next hour on the show. Stay with us. Let's get it. Now, number 2 of 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you for the next 2 hours. Then we got a little overtime coming in the 6 o'clock hour before we open up week 16 of the NFL season with Thursday night football tonight. The Seattle Seahawks hosting the Los Angeles Rams. Pregame coverage at 6:30. Kickoff a little bit after 7. Following Thursday night football tonight, a tape-delayed broadcast of the Jerome Tang Show. So lots of sports coming your way here on the Sports Voice of Kansas. I, for one, wouldn't have it any other way. Hope you folks enjoyed the 68 Ventures Bowl last night from Bowl Season Radio here on 580 WIBW. I'll be honest. Again, a lot going on in my life. A lot going on, holiday season, hustle and bustle, what have you. I forgot to mention on the show today we were going to carry that. Louisiana and Delaware in the 68 Ventures Bowl.
Shout out Delaware in the FBS.
Shout out Delaware. 1 year in the FBS, and they win a bowl game. What, like it's hard? And Missouri State can do the same thing tonight.
Yeah.
Delaware beat Louisiana. Great game. The quarterbacks' names were Minicucci and Lunch.
Freaking Lunch. I hate that guy because he beat Marshall.
Lunch Winfield. How can you hate a guy named Lunch? Anyhow, that was entertaining football. Entertaining bowl game last night. Hope you enjoyed that. So, we're always happy. We got some more bowl season radio coming up where that came from. And eventually I'll remember to promote it on the show when we've got a bowl game coming up. I wanted people to listen to that. So I hope you, if you caught it last night on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, hope you did enjoy that broadcast. We got 2 more hours of sports talk here, as I mentioned, plus some overtime where we will hear from the Kansas City Chiefs coordinators. Still to come this hour, we're going to talk about the Kansas City Royals. I'm going to put on my GM hat and throw out a couple of moves that I think would be reasonable financially and would make the Royals a lot better. Maybe a lot is overselling it, but would make the Royals substantially better. They would be a meaningful upgrade at 2 spots right now where I think the Royals are a little bit deficient. And if I were JJ Piccolo, these would be the moves that I would be trying to make, because I don't think they're going to break the bank. I don't think these are players who are going to command 8 figures a year. And I don't think they're going to command long-term contracts, because both guys I'm talking about are in their mid-30s. But players who would meaningfully upgrade the 2026 roster in a way that I think corresponds with what it appears the Royals want to do financially. We're hearing all this talk about, the Royals are going to make some trades. The Royals want a deal. The Royals want Jarren Duran so bad that they're writing him MASH notes. All this is going on. And I just don't see the wisdom of trading from a farm system that hasn't been all the way restocked and a group of starting pitchers where I think on paper it looks like you've got nice starting pitching depth, but at the same time, you're going to have to factor on needing 7, 8, maybe 9 starting pitchers in a season. You're probably not going to get through it with 6 like you did 2 years ago. That was a fluke. That's not going to happen again. You're going to need 8 or 9 guys. Why trade from that depth? Why be in such a hurry to trade from that depth for more offense? I understand that the Royals do need more offense. I think they've added more offense in a positive way. I still think they can add more without having to sacrifice any players on the current roster. And understand this is all because, we don't want to add to the payroll. Well, add to the payroll, go win a Central, and you'll make your money back from those playoff games you'll host. Okay? Go win the freaking division, because it is out there for the taking. The Guardians aren't going to do anything this offseason. The Twins just signed Josh Bell. I'll be damned if they're going to do anything else. They might trade Byron Buxton. The Tigers, are they going to really go out? Everybody says they're going to spend some money on the free agent market. I'll believe it when I see it. Go win the freaking thing. That's what bothers me the most about this Royals offseason. Well, the most important thing we do is make sure we don't increase payroll enough. Don't quit. Stop being poor. Stop acting like you're poor. Go push the payroll to 190 and win the Central. And I promise you it'll be worth your while on the back end. Anyhow, we got that coming up later on this hour. Also this hour, the December championship on What Is Wrong With You. And if this feels early to do the December championship, crown a champion for the month of December, well, it is. But that's because next week, we're doing the What Is Wrong With You Tournament of Champions, which means we have to bring you the year in What Is Wrong With You. And we are going to do that tomorrow on the show. Cancel your 4 o'clock meetings. Anything you had going on at 4 o'clock. If you are picking up the kids in the carpool lane, stay in the carpool lane. Stay in the car. Stick around. We're going to play all 12 of the monthly What Is Wrong With You champions. The original on-air version, as it originally aired, our first reaction to the story when we heard it the first time. We're going to play all 12 monthly champions. But that means we need one more monthly champion. Who is going to join the Murderer's Row of What Is Wrong With You winners for 2025? In chronological order, the Fascist Falconer, the Double D Drunk Driver, the Meth Cannon, 35 Minutes of Freedom, the Cool Mom, Give Me the Tip or I Empty the Clip, the Winnebago, Operation Bear Claw, the Fragrant Felons, $900 at Fuddruckers, and the Fight Promoter Parent. Even the names are enough to make you laugh at the memory. Some of these. It's a really good field. And we're going to add to it today, and then we're going to play the year in What Is Wrong With You on tomorrow's edition of 580 Sports Talk, because let's be frank, do you want to do that, or do you want to preview a meaningless Chiefs game against the Titans? Look, maybe things would be different if things were different, but things are not different. Things are what they are. So we're going to spend the 4 o'clock hour having some fun with the year in What Is Wrong With You. We're going to talk some Chiefs at the top of this hour. A question that's been kind of nagging at me: who are the elite Kansas City Chiefs? We'll discuss that here in just a moment. But first, I want to let you know that we want to hear from you on the show today. The text line is open, 785-272-9429. That's 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk. We are live on YouTube 3 to 6 every day, or at least while we're on the air, 3 until maybe 5:30 some nights. But while we are on the air, the live chat is open on the YouTube stream, and you can hop on in there, say hello, interact with your fellow listeners on the show, or just tell a mountain of bad jokes like Vance and Paul are doing right now, having a dad joke off in the YouTube comments. I appreciate that. Frankly, I'm going to hang on to some of them for later.
You would.
I would, and I will. Get to the Chiefs real quick, because we talked about it earlier this week. As we have seen this iteration, I'm not ready to call the era of Chiefs excellence over, but this iteration of the era is. Because this iteration of the era, these last 7 years, have been built behind 3 Hall of Fame talents at the peak of their power: Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones. And keep in mind, when I say elite here, I'm talking about the best quarterback in the league and one of the best all time, the best tight end in the league and one of the best all time, and the best interior pass rusher, at least in the AFC for the entire time frame, and certainly in football for a time frame following the retirement of Aaron Donald. These were not just top 10 in their class guys. These are top 1 in the class guys. And with Kelce and Jones, their unique skill set allowed the players around them to elevate. And when you add that to the sublime greatness of Patrick Mahomes, that was enough elite talent to make the Chiefs great. I don't know that the Chiefs have had another player in these past 7 years who's been number one or adjacent at their position other than Creed Humphrey. I think Creed Humphrey right now, particularly after the retirements of Jason Kelsey and Frank Ragnow, I think right this second, Creed Humphrey's the best center in football. I think there were a couple of years where Tyrann Mathieu was in that class of player. L'Jarius Sneed in his final year as a Chief played as that class of a player, and Trent McDuffie was that kind of a player in that same year in All-Pro. But when it comes to the elite talents, here's another way to put it. The Chiefs had number one guys at 3 positions, but they probably had top 10 guys and a handful of others throughout this run. People maybe remember back in the offseason as we got ready to start the season, ESPN.com rolled out their rankings of the top 10 players by position. And the way they broke down positions, quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, edge rusher, defensive tackle, linebacker, cornerback, and safety. ESPN rolled out one of these a week. When we got to the end of it, I went back, I looked at all of the lists, and I tried to pick out how many players each team had ranked as a top 10 player at their respective positions. And going back to the start of this season, those lists had Patrick Mahomes as the top-ranked quarterback in the league, Travis Kelce, number 5 at tight end, and coming off of last year, that was understandable. 2 top 10 interior linemen in football, Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey. I forget which one was number 1 on the list. It might have been Trey Smith. And then Creed Humphrey also in the top 5. Defensive tackle, Chris Jones, ranked number 2 out of 10 by ESPN. And then Nick Bolton, the 4th-ranked off-ball linebacker, and Trent McDuffie, the 4th-ranked cornerback. So that was 7 players in the top 10 at their respective positions. Spencer, how many of those guys would you say performed at that level at their respective positions this season?
Not very many.
So Mahomes, yes and no. Like numbers-wise.
Yeah, the numbers-wise say yes, but some of the play we see on the field, especially at the end of games, say no.
Yeah, I think with the offense, yes, you did not have those signature Mahomes go-ahead or game-winning drives that we had seen.
Especially we saw last year with the one-score game winning.
Yes, and to be fair, I don't put that all on Patrick Mahomes.
No. No.
I put very little of it on Patrick Mahomes. But did he play as a top 10? Was he a top 10 quarterback in the league this year? Yes, comfortably.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce was a top 10 tight end and probably outperformed his ranking given his production. Trey Smith is tricky because he got hurt, but clearly the Chiefs are a lot worse without him at right guard.
Clearly, yeah.
Than they are with him at left. I'm curious because I'm going to check PFF real quick. Again, not the be all end all here, but curious what their rankings say about Trey Smith. They had him 22nd out of 78 guards, but 10th in pass blocking. So the Chiefs guards, him and Suma Taia, both top 15 league pass blocking. So Trey Smith performed, I think, at a level that you would still consider him a top 10 interior lineman. Creed Humphrey, same deal for me. Was Chris Jones the second best interior defensive lineman in football this year? No. There are a lot of guys who've maybe pushed past him in that discussion. Not that Jones is washed or can no longer be great for a game or great for a series, but he is no longer producing as an elite player. That's where the fall off is really noticeable, is on the stat sheet, where you don't have, like, when you had a defensive tackle getting you 15.5 sacks, like that makes the rest of the defense look awesome. And when he's only getting 4 sacks, it changes the equation.
But if you're looking at the stats, if you're watching games, I think you can clearly see the impact he brings to the team.
Yeah, like I still think he is a good player. Like I don't want to suggest, oh yeah, Chris Jones totally washed. He got nothing left in the tank. He's got something left in the tank. This is another one of those where the eye test says, yeah, this is still a top guy at his position, but the production has fallen off in such a way that there are guys who have passed him when it comes to their production, particularly in the sack department. Has Nick Bolton been a top 10 off-ball linebacker this season?
No, but doesn't he lead the team in tackles?
See, that's why I think he has been top 10, because, like, I haven't watched Nick Bolton this season and felt like, oh, I'm seeing Nick Bolton do things he's never done. Like, I'm seeing the same Nick Bolton that I've always seen.
I think Nick Bolton's an interesting guy because I don't think you put him up there as a top 2 linebacker in the league, but if you take him off this team, defensively, they're much worse.
Yes. No.
Significantly worse.
No, I think that is true. I do. I think that is true. And I think that, again, Bolton's one of those eye of the beholder players.
Yeah.
Like, the Chiefs are legitimately very stout against the run. They are solid against the run in their base defense. Nick Bolton's at the heart of that. Nick Bolton's intangible value is, as you mentioned, very high. But also, here's what I'm kind of driving at. And to put McDuffie aside for a second, because I think his performance this year has shown he is very good at one thing, and he has a defined weakness at another thing when it comes to the quarterback position. We kind of talked about that yesterday. But here is what I will ask about these guys, and take the offensive lineman out of the equation real quick. How many game-changing plays did we see that collection of what was considered the upper tier talent on the Chiefs roster? How many game-changing plays did those guys make this year?
I mean, a number, I don't.
Like, yeah, I'm not asking you for like an exact number, but the fact that you're hemming and hawing and you're not immediately saying, well, there was that one time Chris Jones got that big sack, and like, well, no, Chris Jones played some very good games. Like, he was awesome against Detroit, right?
Yeah.
And the Chiefs won that game handily in large part because Chris Jones was so good in that game. But like, how many game-changing, game-altering plays Nick Bolton made this year? How many game-altering, like, field-flipping interceptions or big fourth down pass deflections or sacks did Trent McDuffie wind up with this year?
Not.
How many times?
But they also didn't throw his way that a lot.
Kelsey did score 5 touchdowns this year, which was more than last season. But how many times this year did he make that big drive-sustaining, field-flipping, explosive pass player, that big third down conversion?
I can think of one, but then there was also 2 that he botched and turned into
He
turnovers.
was giving away as many as he was making.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where I think we noticed the disconnect this year with the Chiefs. It is not that I think their best guys have all gotten profoundly worse. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is a worse quarterback today than he was in August. Well, right this second he might be, because his leg is in a brace or cast or whatever because surgery. But, like, you know what I mean. You know what I mean when I say that. Like, I don't think he was a worse player this year than he was in previous years, just appreciably worse. I do not think that Trent McDuffie is a worse player, or that Nick Bolton is physically declining, or that Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith are physically declining, even though, you know, a lot of these guys have dealt with injuries. And that's certainly part of the story. But big-time players, stop me if you've heard this one before, make big-time plays. And the Chiefs didn't get enough big-time plays this year from their big-time guys. And Mahomes is not exempt from that discussion either, because he did not make some play. He did leave some money on the table on some drives and did throw that back-breaking 99-yard pick six at Jacksonville. So that's where I come back to. And then moving forward for the Chiefs, don't think Travis Kelce's coming back. We talked about that yesterday. I think this was always going to be it for Travis Kelce. Be really surprised if he comes back for 2026.
I don't know, man. I have this weird feeling in my head that this dude's last catch this season is coming in the next couple weeks. They're not going to bench Travis Kelce.
No,
especially if he's retired. He's going to play.
And
his last catch is not going to come from Gardner Minshew. There's no way he's going to let that happen.
See, I don't think that part of it.
I think he made his mind up, and I think he's going to change his mind. I think there's a big shot that he changes. I think he thinks about coming back one more season because, one, he doesn't want to go out like this, and two, he doesn't want to go out not catching from his guy.
I wonder if he's that sentimental about it. He might be. You might be right. But I do wonder if he's going to be that sentimental.
I mean, I had in my head this whole year, this was his last year, but after the way this year went, there's no way he can go out like that.
But like moving forward, you may not have Kelsey next year. You know how we're both leaning on that now. Chris Jones's decline, he's in his early 30s. Like, guys don't stay great as they continue to get into their 30s at that position with all the football that Chris Jones has played. So he's going to be a little bit lesser. Trent McDuffie might be on the trade block. He might end up a guy that the Chiefs trade. So the Chiefs need to identify who their elite game-changing players are going to be in this next era of football when Patrick Mahomes returns. Because that is what they have lacked this year. They have some high-end individual talent, good individual players. But those players this year did not make big plays. And that's how you get where Joe points out in the YouTube comments, look, they're 6-8. They didn't get there by accident. They didn't. They did not get there by accident. And they didn't get there because in past years, you could count on one hand. You remembered the signature Chris Jones moments because they were game-winning, game-changing moments. Travis Kelce had game-winning, game-changing moments. Tyrann Mathieu would make a game-changing defensive play. Frank Clark, as long as it was the playoffs, would make a game-changing sack, a sack to cut short a drive. Those kinds of plays are what the Chiefs are missing. I don't think it was necessarily a talent issue this year as it was they have coaches have a saying that if there's a play to be made, the play doesn't care who makes it, but nobody made the play. And that's where you needed your best guys this year to stand up, be counted, to make those plays, and nobody did. And that's how you get to where you get. But that's what the Chiefs have to identify this offseason. Who are our game changers? Mahomes, yes. Who else? Because much as I love Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, are those ever going to be is it ever game-changing to have elite interior offensive linemen? It helps you a lot. You'd rather have that than the inverse. But are those game changers? No, they're not. The Chiefs need game changers. They've had game changers. They had 3 of the very best of their era, and that's how they won the Super Bowls and went to the AFC Championship games. Now they have to find those guys, and that's a big part of the reason drafting higher in this upcoming draft. That's going to give them access in the first round to a potential game changer in a way they haven't had in a very long time. We'll take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, we're crowning a December champion on What Is Wrong With You on 580 WIBW. It is What Is Wrong With You time, and it is time to announce our 12th and final entry into the 2025 What Is Wrong With You Tournament of Champions. We have 11 monthly winners all set to go. We need December's, and we are going to crown it today so that tomorrow we may bring you the year in What Is Wrong With You. Little Friday fun for you. Then next week, we will do 3 shows next week. We will be on the air Monday and Tuesday. We will take Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off. We will be back on Friday, December 26th for our final show of 2025. So if you try and listen to us on the 29th, 30th, and you don't hear us, don't fret. We're not going anywhere. We'll just be back January 2nd. So 3 days next week, we will go from 12 stories to 8. We will go from 8 stories to 4. And then on Friday, we will go from 4 down to our What Is Wrong With You champion of 2026. All right, enough build up. Get to 3 competition weeks this month. And so we have 3 stories battling it out for the December championship. Our first weekly winner this week or this month, I'm 91 and I'll pee where I please. 91-year-old gentleman in Japan who was urinating in the middle of the street and then arrested for threatening to beat up the police officer who approached him and said, "Hey, sir, could you maybe not do that?" You're 91 and your reaction is, I'm gonna rough up a police officer. You're pretty hardcore, man.
Yeah.
You are built different, as the kids say. So that is our first story. Last week's What Is Wrong With You winner, the meth deposit. 46-year-old Jason Smith of Ohio, who accidentally dropped a little baggie of meth through a bank's drive-through pneumatic tube while having a bank transaction done just outside of, or well outside of Columbus. That obviously was probable cause to search his home and or his truck rather, and they found more drugs. So, yeah, he accidentally slid a little bit of meth into his into the tube with his withdrawal or his bank transaction. And this week's winner, a brief joyride without briefs, the naked man in Commerce City, Colorado, who somehow slithered under the fence to a police station parking lot and stole a patrol vehicle and took it on a very brief, and that is a pun intended, joyride before being pulled over and arrested.
I just want to know how I get going under the fence, but like, what, do they leave the doors unlocked and the keys in the vehicle? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. How do you maybe he hotwired it? Maybe he knew how to hotwire.
Can you hotwire cars in 2025?
I don't know, man. I presume you can. They're not all electrics, right? I would imagine you could. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if some officer just said, "Yeah, I'm just going in for 15 minutes to, I don't know, shine my gun, grab a donut,
submit this report.
It's cold today. I'm going to leave the car running." And I don't know. I have no idea.
I want to know that context.
Yeah, I'm a little curious about that too. How exactly he was able to steal the patrol vehicle, because that might be a What Is Wrong With You on behalf of the police department.
Yeah. Which is probably why the information was not released.
Which story are you leaning towards here, Spencer? 1 of 3. These are solid stories.
They are.
These would all be worthy winners.
I think meth deposit.
You're leaning towards the meth deposit
because, like, you literally have to take your meth out and put it in to the tube.
Yeah, like it had to come out of your wallet, probably. I don't know. Was it like stuck on the back of his ATM card or his
like,
ID?
what? Like, I don't like. How do you not see that?
Yeah, I don't know how you don't realize. Or maybe he saw it going up the tube and then had like the worst moment of his life.
Yeah,
watching that meth shoot up the pneumatic tube. I was kind of leaning toward a brief joyride, a briefless joyride, if you will, just because, again, of the questions you brought up. How do you steal a patrol vehicle? I'm glad we have a difference in opinion, because then we can throw it to the listeners. You, the listener, get to pick our final entry into the What Is Wrong With You Tournament of Fail champions. I want you to get your vote in on the text line, 785-272-9429, or in the live chat on YouTube. Or, hey, if you're watching on Facebook and you want to type in the comments which story you think should win, vote for the meth deposit or the brief joyride. One of those two is going to be our December champion, and you guys get to pick. We'll take votes until the end of the hour. Again, 785-272-9429 on the text line, or a vote in the YouTube live chat as well for the meth deposit or the briefless joyride on What Is Wrong With You. We'll take a break. We'll see your votes come in. Already see them coming in hot and heavy. We will count up your votes at the end of the hour, and we'll have our monthly champion. When we come back, I'm putting on the GM hat. I'm going to play JJ Piccolo. I'm going to make a couple of Royals moves that I think put them closer to a division championship. That's coming up on 580 Sports Talk. Voting continues both in the YouTube live chat, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, Facebook comments, WIBW News, and on the text line, 785-272-9429. You get to choose the December What Is Wrong With You champion. The guy who put meth into the tube at the drive-up bank teller on accident, we think, and the guy who stole a police cruiser while in his birthday suit in Colorado. You get to pick the winner. Text or comment with your votes. It's very close. I can tell you that right now. It's very close. It's a close vote presently. So keep those votes coming here. We'll crown a winner at the end of the hour. Still some offseason left for the Kansas City Royals. 55 days now, I believe, until pitchers and catchers report. No, check that. It's 54 today. Because yesterday would have been Cole Reagan's. And today, I don't remember who wore, if anybody, 54 for the Royals last year. We're going to go find that out. That's always fun. But 54 days until the Kansas City Royals report to surprise and open up their season. Andrew Hoffman wore number 54 last year.
For his small stint.
A very small stint.
See, did he get traded?
Yes, he was in the Grichuk trade.
Yes.
He was traded for Randall Grichuk and ended up with the Diamondbacks and didn't pitch a whole lot better for them. I kind of thought Andrew Hoffman looked a tiny bit like our old friend Fulton Castor, so I was rooting for his success. Like if Fulton had really long hair, but I don't know if it's going to pan out for Andrew Hoffman. He wore number 54 last year. Anyway, so the Royals aren't done building their roster, and I wish that the Royals would make a go-for-it trade, like a real go-for-it kind of deal. Not a, well, let's balance our budget and trade a starting pitcher. Let's trade from a strength and get a position player like they did last year with the Singer for India deal that didn't pan out for them. I would like to see them throw down the sawdust and say, we intend to win the American League Central in 2026. Let's go get Ketel Marte. Let's go whoever from our prospect list. You can have anybody but Carter Jensen and Jack Caglione, but we want Ketel Marte from the Diamondbacks. Plug him in at second base, and this team would win the Central without breaking a sweat. I firmly believe. You'd have 3 All-Stars on the infield and a 30-homer, 100 RBI guy at first base. And look, it's not a great farm system for the Royals right now. So if they did take Carter Jensen off the table, they might not have the pieces to get a deal like that done. But I would like to see them try. I would like to see them try to add rather than balancing out the roster. But I think there are also ways that the Royals can add in small ways that can help the team in the aggregate. 2 holes that I see this team is having right now. Number one, I think they are short a right-handed hitting outfielder. I think they are too left-handed given that they want to start both Jack Caglione and Kyle Isbell, but both hitters have some problems with left-handed pitching. And Caglione's young enough that maybe he can get past that this year. But I'd still like to have a right-handed caddy in right field for Cags. And left-handed relief. The Royals traded their best left-handed reliever in Angel Zerpa, and I know many of you were happy to see him go, but that is not a thing that the Royals have on hand to just plug in right away unless they think they're going to convert Bailey Falter to relief. Right now, the left-handed pitchers on the Royals 40-man roster, as it currently stands, Noah Cameron, starter, Cole Reagan, starter, Chris Bubich, starter, unless they want to move him to the bullpen, which we know he's awesome there, but he's...
If they move... You're talking about Bubich?
Yeah.
If they do that, I just feel like that's tough because he came back from injury in the bullpen at the end of the 24 season.
Yeah. And he was awesome.
He was great.
He was really good.
And then they moved him to starting pitcher for last season. He was pretty darn good there too.
He was an all-star.
But then to move back in a third season, that would be
and you'd only be doing that if you thought his shoulder was like Linguini and you weren't.
And he couldn't give you starter innings for the whole season.
Right. You didn't trust him to give you 150 innings. And to this point, there's no indication that that's how the Royals feel about Bubich's injury. So anyway, he's left-handed. Daniel Lynch is left-handed reliever. Not a great one, frankly, but he's on the roster. Bailey Falter, I just mentioned. That's the list. That's it. Daniel Lynch is the only full-time reliever who is left-handed, who is, as of right now today, on the 40-man roster of the Kansas City Royals. Obviously, that ain't going to cut it. You're too right-handed in the bullpen, and Lynch, I think, is not anywhere near being a backhand guy. So let me make these two suggestions to J.J. Piccolo and the rest of the Royals front office, with the caveat that those guys are smarter than I am. And all I've got is a web browser, and I know how to type in baseballsavant.com and baseballreference.com to look at the numbers. But here are the two guys that I think will be affordable enough that they don't appreciably bump up the payroll, but will help the Royals get better in those departments. For left-handed reliever, I got my eye on Taylor Rogers. And here's why Rogers is the guy for me. The Royals have a successful closer. Carlos Estevez led the American League in saves last year. But he's not a dominant closer. Doesn't miss enough bats to be truly considered dominant. And so when that's the case, I think it's helpful to have multiple guys in your bullpen who have ninth inning experience. I think it's good to have Lucas Erceg with some ninth inning experience backing up Estevez should things go sideways for him. Taylor Rogers can do that. He saved 30 games as recently as 2022. And he's been a steady strikeout per inning presence from the left side, even as he's become more of a middle reliever over the last couple of years, most recently with the Reds and Cubs last season. He's been a little homer prone the last couple of years, but I'd chalk that up to having played in Oracle Park in San Francisco, which is a really good right-handed power park, not so much for lefties, but right-handed power park, and Great American Ballpark, which is a great power park for everybody, and Wrigley Field, which is a pretty good power park as well. I would trust that his home run numbers can come down at the K. You're not getting dominance with Taylor Rogers. You're getting dependability and a break glass in case of emergency option in the ninth inning, maybe against a lefty-heavy lineup, or maybe if Estevez is down for whatever reason, you've got a guy who's got that ninth inning experience. I would go pursue Taylor Rogers if I were the Royals. Offensively, that right-handed bat, that caddy for Cags, Rob Refsnyder is apparently not returning to the Boston Red Sox for 2026. He would be the ideal platoon partner in right field for Cags. He hit .269 with a .354 on base and a .484 slug in 70 games last year as a short side platoon player. He was strictly a left-handed pitcher only option for the Red Sox. And he was really, really good at that job. He played a little second base earlier in his career too. So there's the potential for some added versatility, but primarily the last 4 years, he's been a corner outfielder. The Royals have to get a lefty masher on this roster. They have to be able to protect Cags from the league's toughest lefties. Refsnyder might come a little more expensive than the Royals would prefer to pay a short side guy. But if he's outfielder number 5 and a DH option against lefties, I think he's a really good fit. So if you add these guys, Rogers adds to your middle relief in your collection of left-handers, and you're less reliant on Daniel Lynch to face the other team's best lefty every single night. And Refsnyder gives you outfielder number 5, probably forces John Rave or Tyler Tolbert off the roster, which that's not the worst thing in the world. Refsnyder's an upgrade. He's your platoon partner with Caglione, which leaves Lane Thomas to platoon with Isbell in center field. And those straight platoons would be extremely productive. If you can't go get a star, you could probably create a well above average offensive player in right field in the aggregate with Caglione and Refsnyder.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're looking at a lineup then where the worst position on the diamond, the worst hitter is Jonathan India. And I think that's a pretty good starting point for a 2026 lineup. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We will wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. So it is official in a narrow vote. Our 12th and final entrant into the Tournament of Failed Champions on What Is Wrong With You next week. Our December champion of What Is Wrong With You is the meth deposit.
Okay.
The meth deposit. That gives us 2 stories with meth in the title in the Tournament of Failed Champions, which I believe to be a record. We had the meth cannon back in March. And if you're saying to yourself, well, I don't really remember the meth cannon, I've got good news for you. We're going to recap all of the monthly winners on tomorrow's What Is Wrong With You. So we'll get to relive the magic of the meth cannon and the Winnebago and Operation Bear Claw and all the rest in the 4 o'clock hour on tomorrow's show. So cancel all your plans. If you were going to go to an early bird special, wait until the 5 o'clock hour. Hit that happy hour at 5 o'clock instead. The Year in What Is Wrong With You review coming tomorrow on 580 Sports Talk. Now that we have our 12th monthly champion, it is Meth Deposit. We have one more hour of 580 Sports Talk coming up. We will hear from Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Chiefs. He will join us at 5:25. We'll get Mitch's thoughts on a week like few others, like no other, frankly, in the last decade of Chiefs football, as the Chiefs prepare to play an unimportant football game, although I'm sure Mitch will tell us his thoughts on which players and for whom this game is even maybe more important, despite it having no importance in the standings. So we will talk to Mitch Holthus. We'll play a little either or over under. And we are jam-packed full of headlines today, including a developing situation that may impact which state the Kansas City Chiefs call home in the future. We didn't have really anything actionable on this to report earlier in the show, but the gears are turning. And the Kansas Department of Commerce has weighed in, which means we're going to weigh in too.
Also a senator.
All that and more coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, our final hour today here on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Final hour of the day here on 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero and Spencer Dupuis rocking with you on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9. Online at 580WIBW.com and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Thursday. If you're catching a podcast edition or a not live edition, archived edition of the show, thank you for choosing us. We appreciate however, wherever, and whenever you listen to 580 Sports Talk. With you until 6. Then we got a little 580 Sports Talk overtime for you. We'll hear from all of the Chiefs coordinators. We'll hear from Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, and Dave Tobe coming up between 6 and 6:30. Then we'll pass the rock to Westwood One for coverage of Thursday Night Football to begin Week 16 of the NFL season. Might be the decider in the NFC West. It's the Seattle Seahawks hosting the Los Angeles Rams. Might also decide the number 1 seed in the NFC. Huge, huge game for a late season Thursday night. And we've got it for you right here on the Sports Voice of Kansas pregame coverage at 6:30. Following Thursday Night Football tonight, we will have a tape-delayed version of the Jerome Tang Show. So plenty of sports content still to come, even after the conclusion of regular length 580 Sports Talk.
We love marquee Thursday night games late in the season.
We do, because sometimes they're duds.
Yes.
But we also love them because then the NFL doesn't have an excuse to flex Thursday night, which is one of the most anti-fan things that the NFL has decided that they want to do over the years. Like, it's one thing to flex Sunday night. Like, all right, fine. You get a couple weeks notice. That's cool. You're going to the game. You just go a little later or you go a little earlier. It's whatever. Move a game from Sunday to Thursday, even with 2 weeks notice. Like, there are people that come from out of town.
I thought they changed. I thought that they could only move a Thursday night game in a certain window, and it was like it had to be announced. It could only be the end of October, like the last week of October through the end of November, and it had to be announced by the beginning of October.
Yeah, that's still, though, like, people still might plan their whole year around, hey, this is the one game of my favorite team that I'm going to go to, and then they move it. You can't go on a Thursday night. It's anti-fan. It is. But, you know, the NFL is first and foremost a television show. If they had to play the games on a sound stage, they would. Go look at 2020. They played those games on a sound stage. In effect, that's what they did in the COVID year. Empty stadiums, you're still watching. You're still watching. So that is good that they've gotten some good Thursday night matchups here down the stretch. Text from the 785 asked me if I will change my mind on Sam Darnold if the Seahawks win tonight. No, I will not. This is the thing, and I was talking to Brendan off air about this. You guys know a lot of my friends are Denver Broncos fans because that's where I grew up.
Yes.
And right now, all of my friends who are Bronco fans are believing in the chances of a Super Bowl championship for a team with an excellent defense, but a decidedly mid quarterback. The kind of quarterback that doesn't usually win Super Bowls. And I wish I could join them because my favorite team's got an excellent defense and a mid quarterback. But unfortunately, I know too much ball. That is my curse. I am cursed to know too much ball, and with that ball knowledge comes the knowledge that any team quarterback by Sam Darnold isn't going to come to anything when it comes to hoisting Lombardi trophies. I have seen championship teams. I have seen them very closely. I've followed them from end to end. I know what they look like. And if you got a quarterback like Sam Darnold or Bo Nix, you don't look like a championship team to me. Although this is a weird year, weird stuff can happen. I understand that being true, but like holding out hope for weird stuff, that's par for the course. Really, honestly believing that the Denver Broncos are the best team in the NFL with Bo Nix at quarterback because he had one good game against the Packers, grow up. Get a clue. Not happening. That was all of the power rankings this weekend. Are the Broncos the best team? No, they're not. I promise you. You guys, how short is your short-term memory? How bad is it? You remember watching that team play the Jets? You remember that team falling behind by 30 to the Giants? I know they won that game, but they were down 30. Like, please. The goldfish brain of a power ranking is the most obnoxious thing in the world. Anyway, enough about me. We got headlines to get to. Mitch Holthus is going to join us in about 15 minutes here, the voice of the Chiefs. on 580 Sports Talk, thanks to Hy-Vee and Azure Credit Union. We want to hear from you on the text line, 785-272-9429. We want to hear from you as well on our YouTube live chat, the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. We got a lot of headlines to get to. We're going to start with what has been a developing situation throughout the last couple of hours regarding a meeting that is supposed to take place on Monday. It is a Department of Commerce, Chamber of Commerce meeting in the state of Kansas.
It's actually the Legislative Coordinating Council.
Okay, that's what the CC stands for. Thank you. The Legislative Coordinating Council is having a meeting on Monday.
According to Senate President Ty Masterson.
We know that is true. We know that there is a meeting happening with that council on Monday. It is being widely reported that the Kansas City Chiefs will have a presence there, assuming that's like they mean Clark Hunt and not like Charles Omenihu or like Joe Cullen, the defensive line coach. I'm assuming they mean a representative.
Mark Donovan, probably.
Yeah, Mark Donovan or Clark Hunt or somebody like that. That is what is being reported, and that their presence at the meeting will be a precursor to an announcement that the Kansas City Chiefs will build their new stadium in the state of Kansas. That is what is being, at this point, I don't think we could call it even solidly reported. It's just being alleged. The Legislative Coordinating Council has been the group that has been in charge of trying to get both the Chiefs and Kansas City Royals to build their stadiums in Kansas. The president of the Kansas State Senate, Ty Masterson, has previously said that the Chiefs will have to make their decision on what they want to do, either stay in Missouri or move to Kansas, by the end of December this year. Again, it is being widely alleged that this is not involving the Royals. This would strictly be a Chiefs-related announcement. The statement from the Kansas Department of Commerce that they made across social media, quote, "We are aware of the media reports regarding the LCC meeting on Monday. The state of Kansas is in active discussions with the Chiefs about the prospects of building a new stadium and other facilities in Kansas. No final agreement has been reached, but this would be a massive economic win for Kansas and benefit Kansas for generations to come." I have a follow-up. How? Is it a massive economic win for Kansas?
Everybody on X is saying that.
Well, they've done studies on this. There is not really that much of an economic boon to all residents if you get a pro sports team or if you build a new stadium or you agree to a sales tax to build a new stadium. That's been studied. There are real live numbers on that. Yeah. Anyway, the statement from the Department of Commerce concludes, "We are aggressively pursuing this opportunity." So that's what we know. There's a lot of, it feels like, radio wars currently going on in Kansas City right now with the two sports talk stations in that market trying to outsource each other and be first one to the punch, be first one to be right on this story. I'll call it when I see it. Okay. We'll all react to it when whatever happens on Monday or doesn't happen on Monday happens or doesn't happen. But that is what is out there. And if the Kansas Department of Commerce has felt compelled to make a statement, obviously there's more than a little smoke here, but I will wait to call a fire if that's okay with everyone. That's kind of where we stand on this potentially developing story. And if there's any more that comes out in the next hour about it, we'll be sure to pass it along. Spencer, let's talk about on-field stuff with the Chiefs, shall we?
Yes, pulling up the participation report right now for today's practice at One Arrowhead Drive in the indoor today, from what I saw on social media. Leo Chanel continued to miss practice with a shoulder injury, along with Jalen Moore with his knee injury. Rasheed Rice and Tyquan Thornton in concussion protocol missed practice as well. Right tackle Jawan Taylor missed again with that elbow injury. And a new addition to the report was Derek Noddy. He didn't practice, dealing with an illness. Don't expect, apparently, unless it continues, don't expect that to hurt his availability on Sunday, unless things get worse, obviously. It was a limited participation in practice for number one corner Trent McDuffie, which is a good sign because he didn't practice yesterday at all, did not participate in any drills yesterday, participated in a limited capacity today, with limited practice also coming from Chris Jones dealing with the hamstring injury that took him out of the game late on Sunday, and full participants once again for Najee Johnson coming off designated to return with the shoulder injury, and Jake Brittingstool with the hamstring injury designated yesterday to return from the injured reserve. Hollywood Browns practice fully both days after missing last week. Full participant for Brian Cook, Mike Edwards, both dealing with shoulder injuries. Christian Fulton still dealing with that knee injury, a full participant. Noah Gray dealing with a shoulder. He was a full participant, along with Nico Remigio dealing with a knee injury, and Juju Smith-Schuster dealing with a rib injury. Good news, once again, Trey Smith, full participant, dealing with that ankle both days this week. So all appears like he will be back on Sunday. At this point, barring a setback, I would presume if he's been full participant both days and he practiced at the end of last week. For the Titans, got a few did not practices. Cedric Gray dealing with a concussion. Amani Hooker dealing with an illness, didn't practice again. And limited in practice was Van Jefferson after missing yesterday. And Kelvin Winston Jr. missed yesterday with a groin injury. Limited for Jeffrey Simmons again. Bryce Oliver.
Olufemi Oladejo.
He was limited again. A full participant for Chig Okonkwo, the tight end, who apparently was getting a rest day yesterday. Dan Moore Jr., he fully participated. Limited participation for Jalen Amore Davis, the cornerback, Ali Gay, the outside linebacker, Gunnar Helm, the tight end, that's it. That's all we got there. That's the injury report. So a lengthy injury report for both teams, but Trey Smith looking to be good to go for the Chiefs, and Trent McDuffie returning in a limited fashion today.
All right, we got two more things I think we want to hit on today, so we'll just go ahead and fly through these so we can get to a break and talk to Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs, coming up. First of all, did want to acknowledge this, a terrible tragedy affecting the NASCAR world today, as former NASCAR driver Greg Biffle and his family were among 7 people killed in a plane crash in North Carolina. Biffle, his wife Christina, his 14-year-old daughter Emma, and 5-year-old son Ryder were killed in the crash, along with 3 others. Biffle drove for 18 years at the top level of NASCAR in the Cup Series. He won a Truck Series title in 2000, the Xfinity Series title in 2002, and over 800 career NASCAR starts, making his final starts in the series back in 2022. Beyond his contributions on the racetrack, what Biffle will be remembered for was his work as a humanitarian, helping others as a helicopter pilot, supplying aid a year ago in the devastation left behind by Hurricane Helene. In a statement released on behalf of the families, it reads, "This tragedy has left all of our families heartbroken beyond words. Greg and Christina were devoted parents and active philanthropists whose lives were centered around their young son, Ryder, and Greg's daughter, Emma. Emma was a wonderful human being with a kind soul who was loved by many people. Ryder was an active, curious, and infinitely joyful child. Each of them meant everything to us, and their absence leaves an immeasurable void in our lives." In a statement from NASCAR team owner Jack Roush, whom Biffle drove for many years, "The entire Charlotte sports community has suffered a tremendous loss. The tragic accident involving Greg Biffle and his family today is incredibly heartbreaking. I have lost a dear friend and partner in our NASCAR program. His contributions to our race team over the years are immeasurable. My condolences are with all those who loved and knew Greg and his family." Again, Greg Biffle dead at 55. His entire family also perishing in a plane crash earlier today.
Yeah, he did a lot of great things last year during Helene. I remember there's a guy who was on YouTube, Cletus McFarland, Garrett Mitchell, and they would both take helicopters and showed the devastation from above and getting supplies to people that were completely cut off from the rest of humanity last year.
Yeah, that's that beyond anything he accomplished on the track, and he accomplished a whole lot on the track. So yes, an immeasurable loss today. That's a hard one to end on, so I wanted to end on something a little bit more lighthearted, and that is the story from college basketball last night, where Green Bay head coach Doug Gottlieb has announced he is stepping away from his radio show to put his total focus on his coaching responsibilities. He has been maintaining his national sports talk radio show since Green Bay hired him in May of 2024, saying, quote, last night after a win over UC Santa Barbara, as of now, we're going to take a break from it. I've got to have a life. I've got to be there for these kids. I've got to really dig in because we're building something cool here. Green Bay went 4-28 last season under Gottlieb. They've already got more wins than that this year. They are 6-7, meaning there are 3 teams worse than them in the Ken Pom in the Horizon League, which makes me wonder, oh, okay, you wouldn't quit your show for last year's kids because you thought they were some bums, but you quit your show for these kids because they're winning some basketball games. But the other part of it is this, Spencer, and you know this just as well as I do. These sports talk streets ain't no game. You got to be all in or nothing. You got to be all into these hot takes or you're not going to be able to deliver the goods.
Did you hear his press conference last night?
I did. He was near tears.
It was kind of funny, honestly. He's like, I was trying to bank days so I could take them off when we were traveling. So I was doing radio the day after Thanksgiving. And it's going to be such a financial loss to me. Like, bro, you're coaching a Division I basketball team. You're making enough money to live.
Yeah, just entirely unlikable guy, Doug Gottlieb. And I think we all kind of delighted in his lack of success last year. And I will continue to do so, even if they win a couple of Horizon League games this year, because that's about all they're probably capable of. Mitch Holthus joins us next, voice of the Chiefs on 580 Sports Talk. 526 on 580 Sports Talk, and we are privileged to be joined, as we are at this time every week during the Kansas City Chiefs season, by the great Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Mitch's appearances on 580 Sports Talk are brought to us by Hy-Vee, your official tailgate headquarters for Kansas City Chiefs football, and by Azura Credit Union. Contact Crystal Rippey or Naseem Khan about the credit union advantage for your next home loan. And Mitch, this is unlike any conversation that you and I have had since I've been on the WIBW airwaves, because this is not a position that the Chiefs have been in since before 2016, eliminated from the playoffs. And when you add to that the disappointment of seeing quarterback Patrick Mahomes go down with a torn ACL, we have talked throughout the last couple of weeks about the tenor of the locker room shifting from confidence to maybe a little bit of defiance in the face of adversity to frustration. What is it like now with this team, knowing that the internal motivation is all you've got for the final 3 games, because there is no changing the standings, no changing the math, and no bringing Patrick Mahomes back for the rest of this season? What would you describe the mood around the Chiefs as being as they approach this game against the Titans on Sunday?
Well, when did you start at WWW?
2016.
What was your first year? 2016. All right. So starting in, let's just take the 7 seasons of 2018, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Those 7 seasons, the Chiefs won 107 games, a regular season and playoffs. That's the most in NFL history in any 7-year span. And that's just, I'm just getting it from a historical perspective. And then 16 and 17, the 2 disappointing playoff losses, including the Titans, and the Mariota pass to himself. But the mood, to answer your question, this is still a team that has resolve. Now, it is obviously its leader has fallen, but there's still a very strong leadership component on this team. Creed Humphrey comes to mind. In fact, I had a chat with him today, not over the air. It's a personal conversation. He's a very strong leader who will not let the team roll over. And he's Trey Smith's with him in that regard. Defensively, there are several. Nick Bolton is in that. Same thing with Chris Jones. And then, so the tenor of the team is, all right, and they respect Minshew. They like Minshew. So they think Gardner Minshew can win this game. And you win this game, then play the Christmas game. Now, so don't talk about tanking. Don't talk about playing for a draft pick. That's not going to fly with this locker room. They're concerned about Pat. They're encouraged about Pat, the fact that he could get in and get his surgery the next day, which is very rare. But this is still a team full of a lot of resolve that wants to win. They want to win out if they can.
Winning out, it should be noted, would give the Chiefs a 9-8 overall record, which would be a winning season, and that's not nothing. You only get so many seasons in the NFL. You want to have winning seasons as often as you can. So that's one of the things also that the Chiefs have to play for.
And 13 straight. It was every season that Andy Reid's been here has been a winning season. Even the other low point was 14, and the Chiefs were 9-7 that year. So, yeah, to go 9-8 would be and keep streak alive. I'd have to look at it as far as NFL history. It's not as profound as the one I just gave you, but it'd be up there. So to get to 9-8 is fine. And don't talk about a draft pick, because 9-8 and 6-11 is not going to be that right. Won't be that wide of a margin in picks as far as the players that you can receive with either one of those picks. The chasm is not that wide.
Mitch, you mentioned the leadership in the locker room. You spoke specifically to Creed Humphrey, having talked to him earlier this week. The guy that I think of that is going to be such a valuable lesson, I think, for the younger players on this roster to learn from, and has been in the good times too, Travis Kelce. We know that whatever Travis Kelce's decision at the end of this season is, he has played more football than he has left in front of him. We know that is true regardless of his decision. But as much as we maybe lose sight of Travis Kelce, the football player, as Travis Kelce, the celebrity, grows in stature, he's always been the consummate pro, always been credited as being an outstanding teammate. How much can the younger players on this team, on both sides of the ball, learn from how a guy like Travis Kelce is going to approach these final 3 games of 2025?
Well, and I think that it becomes an example. It's why I hate players opting out of bowls, and I hate schools now opting out of bowls. They say there's nothing of value to it. NIL, the portal, blah, blah, blah. No, it's very valuable in the fact that it is really your first games of the next season. And that's where the Chiefs are right now. The reason to win these games is you can't turn winning on and off. And so this is the start of 26. And to answer your question, you ask, what does Travis Kelce give to the younger players, whether Kelce comes back in 26 or not? And this is how the best of the best did his work. And it wasn't just in the 3 Super Bowls he won. It was at one of his lower points where he wants his buddy out there in Mahomes. He doesn't have him. He's going to gut it out to try to help Minshew do all he can. Very strong example and a way to talk to, even a reference point, even if Kels isn't there next year, a reference point by the leaders who do take over to say, you remember how Kels ended those last 3 weeks of the season or handled it? Then your point is a very good one, because Kels is a one of one, shows them that I'm going to work and fight to the end. And that then becomes an important lesson to younger players who are coming, frankly, let's be honest, in the last 2 years in the draft class or free agents are coming out of the opt-out culture. You don't opt out of the NFL. You don't tank in the NFL. It's not the way it works. And Travis Kelce can give that message without saying a word.
Mitch Holthus joining us here on 580 Sports Talk, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, appears in the program. Thanks to our friends at Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. There will be opportunities for players to really show out these final 3 games, either with expanded opportunities or maybe with a second contract or the promise of more of opportunities next season with the Chiefs or elsewhere at stake for them. Who in particular are you most interested to see handles perhaps some increased opportunities here in these final 3 games?
There are 6, and I love it when you ask good questions. And many times, to give a more elaborate answer when there's time, I'm going to give you my answer, but we get into it with Matt McMullen in more detail in the Defending the Kingdom podcast, because that's basically how we spent most of the podcast this week. Now, let me give you the 6 that we had on that show. And one on defense is Ashton Gelati. The interception last week was outstanding, but he's a really good player. He becomes a potential cornerstone for 2026. How will he handle these last 3 games? Offensively, Esapole. Esapole thrown into that. We talked about him last week. And the fact that Esapole now has shown the propensity to be part of the tackle answer going into 2026. How will he handle the last 3 games of the season? Defensively, Noel Williams, very physical corner. 5 passes broken up and only 20% of the snaps. He's third on the team in passes broken up, and Jalen Watson's played 90% of the snaps, and Trent McDuffie's played 87%. Well, Noel Williams has played 20% of the defensive snaps and has almost as many passes defensed. Offensively, Jalen Royals. So you look at Royals, what do we have there? No targets. He's only played 4 games. He's got a 30-yard kickoff return. What do you got? Kevin Knowles as a DB and on special teams. Can he become a guy that you're going to move on from the class of 2022 largely? That'll be my minute with Mitch the week of the Raiders game. That's going to be a senior day graduation of that group. But Kevin Knowles comes to mind as far as that group. So the younger players, with defensively, it's Gelati. You're looking at Noel Williams and Kevin Knowles. Offensively, it's Esapole, it's Royals, and then it's Brashard Smith. What do you have with Brashard Smith? Is he a wide receiver playing running back? Is he kind of a Jerick McKinnon gadget type? Or is he like a number 2 running back? because that room, I think, is going to get transformed dramatically in the offseason. So there's 6 guys that I think are vital to watch very closely in this last 3 games to see, because you're essentially starting 2026 right now.
We're joined by Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs, here on the show, brought to you by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. Mitch, how big? Obviously, you're not in the business of being a doctor, so you're not going to give us a timeline. But Patrick, everything's out there that he wants to make it back by the start of the season, but it's an ACL. Things could happen. How big are these last 3 games for Gardner Minshew to see if he can come back and maybe be the guy that would have to start if Patrick's not ready? Because the Chiefs have obviously had a carousel of backup quarterbacks the last few seasons.
Yeah, but this guy's the best of all of them. I tell you, and I like Carson Wentz and Blaine Gabbert. We can go through all these guys. But honestly, Minshew's the best of anybody that the Chiefs have had as a backup. And you look at what he's done. That's the first part of the podcast. And so people can go to the Defending the Kingdom podcast at the Chiefs app and dive into this if they're driving around this weekend or want to get into this discussion further. But it's a worthy discussion right now. And in the case of Minshew, the guy started 22 games since the beginning of 2023. This isn't Phillip Rivers coming in, out of helping with the Sunday school class. This is a guy, Minshew, that has started a good deal in recent memory, and he's won 9 of those games. He went 7-6 with the Colts, if you recall, and swept the Titans. In fact, went for 321 on the Titans. Then he won 2 games with the Raiders, which might be his greatest accomplishment in life, and he beat the Ravens in Baltimore in the 2024 season. So Minshew can play. Now, he's also going to be a free agent. It's just a 1-year buy deal. And who's going to give him money? Is he going to take, backup money? Is he there to be there for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season if you need him next year? And can he win those games? Can he win these 3 games? That's a great question. But I thought he was going to he gets 1 more completion. We tie the game with a field goal on Sunday. And who knows in overtime. But Minshew can win this game. He can beat Denver if he's got enough around him to support him. And he can win games next year in 2026. Excellent question, but I'm all about Gardner Minshew.
A little bit more with Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, joining us here on 580 Sports Talk, again sponsored by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. You look ahead to this game against the Titans on Sunday, Mitch, and yeah, maybe there's nothing to scoreboard watch. There's no seeding or playoff placement at stake for the Chiefs. But every game is a story, and every story has a narrative, and every narrative has threads to pull on. So which of those threads interest you the most as the Chiefs head out to Nashville as they start the final 3 weeks of their season?
Well, I think we've touched on a lot of them, the younger players and what do you have, and then Minshew. But I'm going to give you another one, and that is who will respond, especially in the guys who touch the ball. Not the guys I mentioned, the rookies, in addition to them. Who is going to respond? I look for Hollywood Brown to play again this week. Coach will probably talk about that tomorrow. Is that Xavier Worthy? Are you going to play like you're opting out? Or are you going to attack it? What's Pacheco going to play like? I mean, there's some questions here among a whole bunch of guys that weren't involved in the Minshew or the rookie discussion. So that's where I go as the biggest narrative. And don't opt out and don't try to, hey, let's tank it here. Because guess what? Tennessee ain't going to tank it. If you play that way, you'll get embarrassed. Jeffrey Simmons is a monster. Jeffrey Simmons is number 1 among interior defensive linemen in sacks and tackles for losses. Cam Ward's had his best 2 games, the last 2 games. Tony Pollard has rushed for 100 yards over that in the last 2 games. And they've got dudes now. DK's the punt returner. He's got 2 punt returns for touchdowns. If you go in there and just jog, they will slap you around. So the NFL, again, is not about opting out. It's about playing this game and winning this game and giving it all you got. And I've got your nugget of the night.
Nuggets of the night are never eliminated, Mitch. What have you got for the nugget of the night?
Gardner Minshew became the point of our discussion a paragraph ago. Gardner Minshew, there have been only 3 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL that have played for 5 different teams in their first 7 years, or at least since 1950. I don't think they're even keeping track of it. One of those is Case Keenum, who's in this discussion, but that's Gardner Minshew. If you think he was great at Jacksonville coming out, and he was with Philadelphia, right? We talked about Indianapolis. He was a starter. He went 7-6 with the Colts, almost got him into the playoffs. And then he was with the Raiders last year, and this will be the Chiefs. So Gardner will make a little bit of history in some rarefied air as being only one of 3 quarterbacks in the history of the league, or at least since 1950, who played with 5 different teams in their first 7 years.
Mitch Holthus is the voice to the Kansas City
and
Chiefs.
The other one, I forgot.
Give it to me.
The incomparable. You know, Case Keenum played with everybody. The incomparable. Wait for it. Hold your breath. Jeff Driscoll.
Wow. I did not think we were going to get
Yes.
a Jeff Driscoll name drop on the program today.
That's a mic drop. Jeff Driscoll mic drop. I walk off the stage.
Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, appears on 580 Sports Talk, brought to us by Hy-Vee, your official tailgate headquarters for Kansas City Chiefs football, and by Azure Credit Union. Contact Crystal Rippey or Nassim Khan about the Credit Union Advantage for your next home loan. Mitch, have a great trip to Nashville. We will listen on Sunday. We will talk to you next Tuesday prior to the Christmas Day game against the Broncos. Thanks so much.
Perfect, guys. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
That is Mitch Holthus. We will step aside for a break, come back with a little either or over under as we wind down on this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk. 5:45 on 580 Sports Talk. We promised we'd update if we got anything more concrete on what might be in motion with a meeting of the Legislative Coordinating Council of Kansas in Topeka on Monday. There are reports that the Kansas City Chiefs will be present at the meeting. There are not reports that the Royals will be at the meeting, but there is this from a spokesperson for Kansas Senate President Ty Masterson being reported by Fox 4 in Kansas City. Quote, this is the spokesperson quoted here. Senate President Masterson believes the Kansas City Royals are fully committed to Kansas, which fulfills their obligation regarding the advanced timeline given from the LCC. While their location proposal continues to evolve, it will not be finalized or considered this year or during the upcoming legislative session. So the leaders of the state of Kansas have set a deadline for the end of the year for either the Royals or Chiefs to decide if they're going to use the Star Bonds, which are valid until June 30th of 2026. It's a hard deadline. It's take it or leave it. We'll give you this money. We'll help you build a stadium in our state. It's there until June 30th, 2026. You don't take it by then, we'll fix the roads. Or we'll pay teachers more money. Nah,
but aren't the roads more?
That, right?
Aren't the roads anyways better in Kansas than Missouri? I always hear these things about people that live along State Line Road.
I want to be really clear about, like, okay, people drive through Topeka and it's a running gag about the potholes in Topeka, and like I understand that. Drive I-70 through Kansas,
yeah,
and then watch what happens to I-70 when you get to Burlington, Colorado.
Oh, not where I think you were going.
No, like, our state roads pretty darn good compared to a lot of the states I've lived in, a lot of the states I travel to, and yeah, better than Missouri too. Like the state highways, the interstates, they're in better shape here than they are in other states. They are. That's fact. And I will not hear evidence to the contrary because there isn't any. But like, that's the latest, is that Kansas already thinks they've got the Royals in the bag. There's a lot of
that's a whole rabbit hole we could go down too.
Yeah, because there's a concern right now. The Royals bought some land and seem to have a spot picked out in Overland Park, and the residents and community leaders are vigorously pushing back
and
against the ballpark.
Big cellular company is as well.
Yes,
saying they will move.
Yeah, 119th and Knoll in Overland Park is the reported site, and there's a lot of pushback going on.
Is it T-Mobile? I think T-Mobile.
Yeah.
T-Mobile said they're going to move if the Royals go there.
Yeah, they're based out of here. So, or based out of Kansas City anyway. So again, that's the latest, is a statement from a spokesperson for Ty Masterson that there's a report out there that the Chiefs are going to announce on Monday that they're going to build a stadium in Kansas. That's I don't even know that that's a rumor at this point. A report. I think that's still at the stage of a rumor. But
being reported on by both big personalities out of the Kansas City sports radio area.
Radio wars going on right now in Kansas City over there.
It's kind of funny to look at both guys' tweets.
Yeah, you can catch up with them on the podcast. Stay with us, please.
Yes.
We're almost done here on 580 Sports Talk. We got some either or over under that we want to get to.
I think I got a good one.
Give it to me.
So this is a weird way to say it. It's kind of like a what's the other? I'm blanking. I'm having a bad day right now. Where we pick one out of the other.
One got to go.
Yeah, one got to go. I was gonna say one that's not it. I got one got to go, but it's a version of this.
Okay.
Between the two G5 programs, according to our friends at Prairie Band Sportsbook right now, James Madison is a 21-point underdog to Oregon on Saturday night. And Tulane is a 17.5-point underdog to Ole Miss on Saturday afternoon. Between those two teams, if one team was going to cover, which team covers?
Probably Tulane, because they're the only one of those teams playing against a team that doesn't have their coach anymore. Neither Tulane or James Madison have their coach anymore. I guess John Summerall's hanging around until Tulane gets eliminated this weekend, and then he'll go and work at Florida. And I think, is Bob Chesney sticking around at JMU?
He's coaching.
Too? Yeah. Well, Lane Kiffin didn't hang around Ole Miss. right?
Yeah,
So,
but he led some of his assistants that got on the plane with him.
And that game is also a rematch. So, there's a little bit of familiarity there. I think Tulane can cover. James Madison is going to get blown off the face of the earth by Oregon. It's just not going to be close. Like I would not hesitate to take Oregon minus 21 in that one. You've got a football one. I've got a football one. We've got Thursday night football coming up tonight. Seattle Seahawks, Los Angeles Rams from Seattle, opening up week 16. There's your either or. The Seahawks are favored by 1.5. Money line minus 121 at Prairie Band Sportsbook. Rams are even money on the money line. Who do you like tonight?
I'm saying the Rams. I believe they're going to be without Devontae Adams.
They are going to be without Devontae Adams.
Doubtful the last I saw.
No Charles Cross for the Seahawks. That's their left tackle. That's a loss. Puka Nacua is going to play. He apologized to everybody who was offended by his little anti-Semitism yesterday.
Hold on.
I love the old apologize to everyone who is offended. That's not a real apology.
Yeah.
If you're only apologizing to people who were offended, you don't really get why you offended people the way that you did. Also, Puka Nacua on the same live stream said that concussions aren't real. He said, quote, "They're all in your head," which extremely funny. But
I'm still taking the Rams.
Number two, I don't know that it would be all in Puka Nacua's head because based on the events of the last 24 hours, I don't know that there's anything in his head. Like maybe a moldy plum or some tapioca pudding. Certainly not a functioning brain. I
think that goes for the...
Yes, the Nacua brothers. They're all winners, aren't they? They're all winners.
Allegedly.
I've said earlier this week, I think the Rams are going to win. I think they have more solutions for the Seattle defense than Seattle has for the Rams defense. Sam Darnold threw 4 picks in the first meeting. He has not been the same quarterback since. Like, he was the best quarterback in the league at throwing into tight windows, and then he threw 4 picks against the Rams, and he has just stopped throwing the ball into tight windows. He has the constitution of a chocolate eclair. Like, no guts on this guy. So I think the Rams will win. They got the better quarterback. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We will wrap up the show here on 580 Sports Talk. Time to wrap up this edition of 580 Sports Talk. We got a little overtime coming up before Thursday Night Football, but to end regulation, Spencer Dupuis, give me your final word.
Yeah, I just found out I've been officially scammed about 20 minutes ago. So yesterday I thought I received a package because I bought a shirt for Santana Moss's Commanders Ring of Fame back in September. To keep it short, it took forever. I got an email about over a month ago saying I had a tracking number and they were waiting to ship it. Well, apparently if you don't ship it within a tracking number within 30 days, it just gets reused. Turns out I did not. I thought it was coming. Turns out it wasn't coming. And I go on X today, the Everything app, which can sometimes be helpful with communities and the Commanders fan base. Turns out I was robbed. This guy is robbing not only every fan, but Santana Moss as well. So,
that's tough.
Yes.
That's tough.
But shout out to Apple for getting my money back fast.
Hey, that's a positive.
Yeah.
You got your money back. So nothing lost. That's at least a positive. Final word for me today. I'm starting to think about baseball with the Royals eliminated from the playoffs.
Chiefs.
The Chiefs eliminated from the playoffs. See, I'm starting to think about baseball. I just want to see some more aggressiveness from the Royals. I really hope the move that they make is additive, both monetarily, instead of thinking they've got all this depth or all this minor league depth to trade from. Go spend just a little bit more money. It's not going to cost. They don't need to go pay Kyle Tucker. They should, if they could. But they can make some smaller moves that aren't going to break the bank, which is what they don't want to do, but can really help this team. Go get a lefty masher. Go get a lefty reliever. And I think they'll have the best roster in the American League Central entering 2026. That'll do it for us today. We're back tomorrow from 3 until 5:30. For Spencer, I'm Dan. This is 580 Sports Talk. Good night.